Hi everyone and welcome to our newest podcast here at WhatCulture. It is the Tuesday Throwdown. I'm Kenny McIntosh, as always here to annoy you because you're always wishing that you had Adam Blampide, but unfortunately he is not here today because he doesn't love you like I do, because I'm always here for you. But I'm joined here by my good personal friend Jack the Jobber. Jack, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good. All the better for seeing you. Sporting the Bullet Club t-shirt today.
Yeah.
For people who aren't seeing the video. So... Are you a big Bullet Club fan today?
Oh, I love them.
Are you excited about the Balor Club coming into WWE?
Potentially going to come in, yeah.
Potentially.
Very excited
You
about
look really
that.
nervous about it.
Oh, just wanted it too sweet.
Oh, you want to be too sweet? Okay.
There we go.
And I'm also joined by the newest member of the WhatCulture team, James Dixon. Hello, James.
Hello.
How are you?
Can't stop smiling.
You can. If you can see the video, James is literally giddy right now. So tell the lovely people of WhatCulture one fact about you that they don't know. And if they don't know anything, you can just tell them anything. One fact.
James Dixon may or may not be my real name.
Ooh, that is a tease.
That's all you're getting, though.
That's all we're going to get. So today we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk about the kind of Roadblock coming up this weekend. We're going to talk about WrestleMania, some of the new developments for that. And then we're also going to have a new segment, Questions with Jack, where you're going to field questions.
Yeah. Well, they're not my questions, but they're from the lovely fans out there on Twitter.
They are. But let's kick it off, talk about Monday Night Raw last night from Chicago, cue the CM Punk chants. Shane McMahon back on the show, and he had a promo with Vince, and the whole thing was Shane calling his dad an egomaniac and other words, and then Vince came out, disowned him, stepped on a picture of them, and also, well, to give him credit, he did do a tease of The Undertaker's dong and then came out.
That was awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Or his gong.
You might want
his
to
dong.
rethink your choice of words there.
Yeah, I didn't think that through. His gong, not his dong. Undertaker's dong, I'm sure, is beautiful. But we've not seen it and we don't want to. Michelle McCool is the one to ask. James, what did you think about Shane last... Because there was a lot of criticism last week about The Undertaker's promo or lack thereof.
Quite right.
And about, he didn't give a reason for why he's doing this match. So last night was more about Shane and Vince. Did you feel like it made the story better? Did it improve it?
It's the same as any WWE booking. It just stayed in the exact same place it was before we started. As usual, nothing moves on. It was just like last week. Undertaker comes out, stands there, says one word, disappears. This week, it's the same McMahon family drama we've seen for the last 20 years.
And do you think, because obviously it's as if people think that Shane is this hero that's going to change everything. Are you happy to see Shane back? Because I know that you've watched wrestling for a long time, so you've seen all the McMahon family dramas take place.
I used to really despise Shane when he was on TV in 98, 99 because he had this attitude where he'd try and take over every single segment he was in, at the expense of half the wrestlers on the roster as well, putting himself over with the stupid big moves that he tries to do. And it's like, if half the things he used to do, if any of the wrestlers tried them, they'd get a rollicking backstage and be told they couldn't do him. And Shane obviously can because of nepotism. But I am happy to see him back by that token because it's something fresh and different. And the key is it was such a surprise when he came out. Mm-hmm. And I think wrestling fans more than anything else like surprises. I know I certainly do, and especially when they're not spoiled beforehand. So seeing him come back was great. What he actually offers now that nostalgia pop's died down, I'm not so sure.
And how about you, Jack? You've got a different perspective because you've not been watching Shane as long.
No.
So when did you... I guess the kind of... This big, long question is, when did you first see Shane? Did you like him before, and are you happy to see him back?
Well, the first I can remember was... He was very much on the scene when I started watching wrestling, which was 2000, 2001. And at the time, I didn't really think about it that much because I was a kid. And he was feuding with... Big Show, I think, at the time.
Feuding you?
Yeah, what?
No.
Oh,
No,
right. Can't believe I brought that there. And I just liked him at the time because he jumped off high things. And,
What's not to like?
Well, exactly. But now, I was really excited when he came back a few weeks ago.
Right.
I was excited for last night to see what he would do. And then he ruined it again with those little...
Here's the thing, so this is interesting. The punches thing is something that people bring up.
Yeah.
But Dean Ambrose, who is probably one of the most popular wrestlers in the roster, his punches are terrible as well. So
all the paintbrush.
So John Cena's, so half the roster.
Yeah, so I feel like giving Shane crap for his punches, it would be fine if everybody else's were great, but I don't really get the punch hate thing. that people
All right.
that people seem to have.
It wasn't as bad as when he did it to Orton.
Oh, the Orton one.
That was
The Orton
bad.
one was particularly the worst.
Yeah,
But what about you? Do you think that this week with Shane and Vince, did it make the storyline any better? Are you more excited or less excited for WrestleMania because of it?
Well, as James said, just the same. It hasn't really changed. We still don't know why Undertaker was so willing to get on board with Vince.
I don't think we ever will either.
But no,
So I don't think they know.
But it hasn't. This sounds bad because it's almost like the booking doesn't deserve this reaction from the fans. I'm still very excited for the match, just because it's such a bizarre matchup. I'm still really curious to see what actually goes down. So,
But you don't think they're going to do an Undertaker explanation?
I don't see how they can, because unless they drag up the past and bring up the Ministry of Darkness and, but given that they can't remember what they did 2 or 3 weeks ago most of the time, the fact is they're not going to remember 17 years ago and an angle that they've mainly forgotten anyway. They're not going to want to bring up that Undertaker used to be a Satanist and things like that, are they?
Oh, when Undertaker used to be interesting. What a time to be alive.
The thing is, though, man, people are getting so excited about Shane being back, and mainly it's because I think they want the authority gone, which I completely understand. But it's not going to change anything. We've seen them, even if Shane wins that match, stipulations over the last couple of years have meant absolutely nothing. The authority have been gone before.
Survivor
John Cena
Series.
had to retire when the Nexus beat him.
He did.
You
Was
know,
he
also
not-
joined the Nexus.
He was on TV the next night, I'm sure.
It was pretty soon.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
pretty-
no, he was Juan Cena at one point, wasn't he? He was on a house show with a mask on.
Well, yeah, that fooled everybody.
There's just times when you turn up in the crowd and then everyone would be like, "Oh, it's John, he's back!" And everyone,
Yeah.
the heels would make really good points. Like Punk would be on commentary going like, "He's literally not allowed in the building," and then they'd be like, "Shut up, man, Punk, it's fun." And I was like, "No, you've got to make the heel be in the wrong for it to work in that situation."
But let's talk about Roadblock then. Roadblock coming up this Saturday night. James is already giving his opinion there through that noise. Jack, you first. Dean Ambrose, Triple H. I really liked Dean Ambrose's promo last night. I thought he brought some fire to the table. What do you think about this match? Is it because some people are kind of like, it's pointless because Triple H is going to win and he's going to go on to WrestleMania. But some people are really excited that Ambrose is getting a little bit of a chance.
I'm excited that he's getting a chance to shine. Definitely, he's not going to win. I'll take this all back if they do throw like the biggest curveball and he does win.
Not going to happen.
But no, it's not, is it? Sadly, but like the minute he raised the belt on Raw as well, I just thought
It's the sign you're not winning.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you put the belt up, that you're going to win it on Sunday.
It was very intriguing that Bray Wyatt had a little interaction with Triple H and touched the belt and then went away. And it kind of demonstrates the strength of Bray's character because he's looked awful through the booking for the past few months.
Mm-hmm.
And
Few
then,
years, man.
well, yeah. And then he can come into the ring with Triple H, touch the belt, and the crowd pop. And
People
you just
love
think,
his character.
because he's got such a strong character. He's really charismatic. So there's still hope for Bray. There's always hope for him as long as he keeps that character, I suppose. But for Dean,
Dean's the guy that the top guy beats. He's not the top guy, and he's always going to be that
you
guy.
reckon?
You mean
He
like the
needs-
Mick Foley kind of thing?
Yeah, he might get the odd run with the belt for a couple of weeks. He's never going to be the guy that they push. He's never going to be the guy that's
I think he's too
company's
good,
built
too
around.
good a loser. He's too good at getting nearly
He's
there.
too good.
Yeah.
He's the guy just underneath.
Yeah.
There's always. I mean, that's not a bad position to be in. You know, there's longevity to that spot because he's Teflon Dean. You know, he can get beaten 100 times, and he has been by everybody. But he's never going to be the top guy. He's never going to get the Roman Reigns push or anything like that. Even with fan support, that he's always going to be very popular with the guy underneath.
I think the Bray thing you bring up is interesting as well because Bray's really not done a lot to support the reaction that he gets.
Yeah.
You know, like he always loses to Undertaker or John Cena or whoever it is. But at the Royal Rumble, when he had the face off with Triple H, last night when he had the face off with Triple H, people really love the idea of the Bray Wyatt character, I think, rather than the execution. So I'm keen to see where he goes. But I guess just to kind of finish off the Raw chat, in terms of the Chris Jericho, AJ Styles breaking up and going their separate ways, are we excited for AJ Styles and Chris Jericho at WrestleMania?
No, because I thought all of their matches they've had on TV recently have been very overrated by everybody who are just so excited at seeing Jericho and AJ working in the same ring. And it's like, if it was 10 years ago for Jericho, it would have been great, but he is sloppy and he's out of shape. And, you know, as far as what you expect from Chris Jericho, I think of Jericho in 98, 99 when he was at his peak, maybe 2000, but now he's just...
There's a higher expectation for him in a way.
Well, it's because he has been so good for so long, but his problem is it's different to someone say, like, if Hulk Hogan came back and wrestled, you don't expect a great match from Hulk Hogan, But you expect a great match from Chris Jericho because he's always done that over the years, his matches with, you know, Benoit and with The Rock and with Eddie and whoever else. So, and Shawn Michaels, you know, but these matches with AJ, I think, have been good for a WWE Raw match, but I don't think they've been good, you know.
And how about you, Jack? I thought the match with the New Day and Jericho and Styles was great.
That was a fantastic tag match.
I really liked it. What do you think? Are you happy to see them get at WrestleMania kind of feuding?
No, but I'm happy that AJ's out on his own again.
Yeah.
So I'm not particularly looking forward to an AJ Jericho match because we've seen it 4 times now
Maybe
already,
it's more-
3 times now
It
already.
might happen at Roadblock, though, instead.
Maybe. But is it more interesting now because Jericho's a heel rather than
Yes, he's a
being
better heel, obviously.
No more cartwheels. Yes.
The cartwheels isn't believable. And also, it's sort of a related point, but now that Sami Zayn's back in the picture as well, that's really promising too. So I like that people like AJ, like Sami, and now, well, we all thought when AJ first got in the tag team, oh, this is terrible. Now he's back out on his own. I think it's probably good.
I kind of something that there was a criticism from people online that I actually thought was quite clever was the fact that WWE released Y2 AJ t-shirts, so people would.
And
think,
we were like, they're so bad. Why would anyone buy them?
But people were like, oh, they're going to be together for ages. But really, they just did it so that you wouldn't realise that they're going to split up.
I
straight
think
away.
you're giving them too much credit. There's every chance that they plan to keep them together and Vince changed his mind at the last minute.
That is true. That's also true.
The thing is, I don't think it's going to be AJ versus Jericho at WrestleMania. I think it's more likely they'll be in that Intercontinental title thing.
You think so?
I think it'll be a big like 6-way schmoz again, like last year.
It could be. It could be. You mentioned Sami Zayn returning. He's going to be in this
He'll be in that.
multi-man ladder
Neville
match, I
as well.
guess, with
All the work rate guys.
Neville and
you
Kevin
know?
Owens. I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see Sami Zayn. I mean, I would love to see Sami Zayn one-on-one with Kevin Owens.
They'll get
but
5 minutes though.
5 minutes.
WrestleMania, probably.
They'll get
Because
that
they've got to
match
get
somewhere
Triple
down the
H's
line.
entrance in there.
That's true. God does need to come out. Well, because I think the ladder match last year got about 10, 15 minutes on the opener when Bryan won the IC title. I can't remember. But so the other thing from Raw that I want to quickly bring up is Kalisto and Ryback. Now I was quite harsh towards Kalisto yesterday, Jack.
You were?
I want to apologise. Still, I don't know the reasoning, but yeah, Kalisto and Ryback. Are you more excited now because he's going to have a sort of Goliath opponent to go up against?
I'm hopeful for him. He's already beaten Ryback before in the tag title tournament.
Survivor Series or just before then?
Yes, but anything. I'm just a big Kalisto fan. And anything that gives him a chance to, shine, show what he can do. I'm always for that.
I feel like we're going to get a completely opposite opinion.
I was just waiting for
I was letting you make your point first.
and Ryback hit the knee and did that, which was funny. There you go. Right.
There you go.
Okay.
How can anybody in the world get excited about any match involving Ryback? Is my first question. How can anybody be excited about anything involving Kalisto, given the way he's been booked since winning the title as well?
He's a fantastic lad.
Well, he's a joke. Isn't
He's a fantastic
I'm
lad.
sure he is, and I think he's a great talent sometimes when he reins himself in. I think when he starts flipping around, I don't know who's hit a move some of the times in his matches. It's like, has he hit it? Where's the impact? The impact looks like it's on him when it's him who's done the move. And that takes me completely at the moment. It's too many spots, But Ryback versus Kalisto, it's just the same big man, little man stuff we've seen forever.
It's all going to set up for Ryback to challenge Roman Reigns for the world title after WrestleMania, right?
Yay!
This is where it's going. And I guess the last thing I want to bring up from Raw, just for Dolph Ziggler did not annoy me as much this week. He brought up a storyline from the past, and he...
Poor choice, though, given the stipulations. All they've done is cheapen the WrestleMania stipulations by mentioning that and
by
remind
bringing
us.
up by bringing up the loss. I don't know. I kind of like the fact that there was they kind of brought in the whole. He wrote a tweet, it got deleted. Stephanie.
Have you seen his
something about
Fallout, his Raw Fallout
No.
promo? That's good. And I don't know why they've done this twice now with Ziggler, where he cuts an insanely good promo. Like not an insanely good promo, a really good promo.
it. He does cut good promos on the website, and they never get.
And they
shown on
never
TV.
do that on the main show. But instead they've got Stephanie going like, sit down. And it's just like,
Well,
Stephanie,
yeah, you've
already
got to
looks
have some
strong, man.
emasculation on there.
Well,
Otherwise,
obviously. What's International Women's Day?
every day for Stephanie McMahon is International Women's Day.
Just to kind of close off the Raw chat, let me ask you both same question. Jack, match you're most looking forward to at Roadblock, match you're most looking forward to at WrestleMania coming out of Raw.
Roadblock, even though we all know who's going to win, I think it could be a really good match. So Ambrose, Triple H. What was the next one, sorry?
What match at WrestleMania are you looking forward to the most?
In terms of work rate and the match itself, Ambrose and Lesnar, Shane and Undertaker, man. I'm just excited for Shane and Undertaker.
Shane
honestly,
Undertaker.
yeah.
Okay, I genuinely have no idea what match you're going to pick here. So, well, for Roadblock and WrestleMania, what are the matches that you could either enjoy the most or tolerate the most?
Roadblock, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the wrestling's generally fine, serviceable. It's the way everything's booked that's the problem, the way it looks. But, I mean, I think Ambrose Triple H will be fairly good.
Mm-hmm.
They're both capable of putting together a very good main event style match, and they'll use every cheap shortcut in the book, so it'll be entertaining. Triple H is obviously winning. As far as WrestleMania, I am actually looking forward to Shane Undertaker because I just want to see how they're going to get out of it without it making no sense whatsoever.
It's going to be bonkers.
It'll be interesting to see what Shane does.
And I think it was Brian Alvarez had said on Wrestling Observer Live that they were considering putting the Undertaker's career on the line. Or I read that yesterday somewhere. And I mean, that would be the worst idea because...
Well, if they do that, he's winning. So.
Yeah, and then Shane's not going to be the hero to save the day. But I guess we'll see where it goes. We've got Roadblock this weekend, and then next week is Raw in Pittsburgh, which should really be the kind of beginning to, everything's about WrestleMania from that point on.
Should have been anyway, really.
Yeah, Roadblock is kind of...
Roadblock, it's aptly named. They've spent half of Raw building up to a network show, which is purely designed to build up to WrestleMania. So why not just build to WrestleMania?
It's a fair point. I can't argue. So that was Raw, but Jack, I'm going to throw it over to you now.
Yeah.
Because you've been fielding questions fiendishly.
On Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully this will become like a regular thing, and fans can tweet in their messages, and then we'll pick a few. And then
Where do they tweet?
Well, you can either tweet at WhatCulture WWE, or you can tweet me personally. This is such a plug, isn't it? At Jack_the_jobber. A quick update, I've overtaken Ross again since yesterday.
Okay, well, give us an update. So how many followers have you got now?
Oh, like just over 4,000, and he's also just over 4,000. It's really tight, the margins.
Neck and neck,
oh,
folks.
Man.
So, fire away with these questions. So, and give people the premise of what this is going to be.
Well, so basically, the questions have come in. I'll field them at both of you, and then you can have a little debate, and I'll chip in occasionally, but mainly I'll stay out of it, and we'll just see. They're all mainly on WrestleMania and WrestleMania season, and then there's one at the end that's more of just a general question of our opinion.
Sure.
So yeah, this one's from @HandsAlive. Question number 1: who will win Shane versus Taker, and which is best for business?
You want me to go first?
Yes, just for the sake of
Okay, I feel like the way they're building it, Shane has to win it because they're building up all the goodwill of Shane's going to get rid of the authority, people are going to get pushed who weren't getting pushed before, and what was the second part to it?
What's best for business?
Best for business would be for Shane to win, but the only way that I think he should do it is by somehow there's help that gets it to happen, and if they can do that and segue into something else with the Undertaker that means more for him and that he can finally do a proper storyline, that would be great. I think the difficulty is the match is going to be bonkers, and I think they're going to overbook it, and I think it will be fun. My thing is, I would quite like to look back on it in a couple of years and go, they did a really good job.
Yeah.
That would be my hope.
What do you think then, Jay?
I mean, that's always my hope, but most of the time my illusions are shattered when I actually watch what they do. I've seen them be in this kind of situation before where they get stuck and just come up with something nonsense to get out of it. Ryback and CM Punk being the example in the Hell in a Cell a couple of years back. And they had the dodgy referee, was Brad Maddox, I think it was. And that was lame, because people were looking forward to that match and people genuinely didn't know who was going to win given the pushes the guys had had. And it's the same kind of thing here. I don't know how they're going to get out of it, but I don't have much confidence in them doing it right anyway. But if I was to pick, the way I look at it is Undertaker represents the authority in this case, whether he wants to or not, and the authority always wins, so the Undertaker's going to win. I think Shane's back short term. I think it was just one of those cases where Vince has got nervous and realised that he's got no stars at WrestleMania, and he's, Shane's an easy one for him to go to.
Don't you think though on Raw last night when they were doing the whole thing about Triple H saying the authority always wins, and then Shane talking about how it's finally time for a change? It's like they're building it that Shane can't lose.
Absolutely, it is absolutely like they're building it like he can't lose. But name me a time when the authority has lost.
In the long
Oh, you mean in the long
run? They've been on top and dominant for years. Every babyface who comes along, even Roman Reigns, the guy that they're trying to push to the moon and push right, they've still managed to make a mess of doing that and have the authority, run the rule over him every single week. And he's come off looking like a real crybaby in the last few weeks as well with his broken nose. It's like, oh no, he's got a little boo-boo, and
well, he walked out the Royal Rumble, didn't
Took
he?
a rest in the Royal Rumble. Yeah.
walked away from the Royal Rumble.
Took a wee
Exactly.
rest.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens comes limping out after a last man
It's
standing
just,
match.
see, if you look at that logically, that looks like a Roman Reigns heel turn's coming up, because he's like kind of like Bret Hart in '97 when he was whining and whining, but he was a babyface, and eventually he did the switch and became a heel. But they're not going to do that. So there's no sort of signpost in their booking now, because they just do whatever they feel that week. There's no long-term booking to any of it.
So you think Undertaker's going to win?
I think
Which one do you
Undertaker will
think's best for business?
If they stick to the stipulation, obviously Shane winning's best for business, because the authority is so played out and boring, but they will always come back because they will always be there. So they will always be the fallback point.
I think the Shane Undertaker match is the most unpredictable of the card in terms of an outcome, because I think as much as we all wanted to do something different with Roman and Triple H, I think that's the most obvious outcome. Roman wins the title.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's going to happen. Whereas with Shane Undertaker, like Roman can win the title and have Shane be in charge, that can happen, or Roman can win, the authority can be in charge. So that doesn't really change. But I think this match is the one that people are going to be really kind of excited about what the outcome is going to be.
See, I don't know, man. I think if you look at the way the other matches are, if Triple H is losing, which we're all certain that he's going to, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for Shane to win that match anyway.
Unless Roman turns, unless he
turns, but I don't think he's going to do that either. So I think it'll just be back to the same old after WrestleMania.
Love the optimistic answers there.
Yeah.
Question 2 is from Immortal Losers _1. Immortal Loser, sorry, _1. Can't read my own handwriting.
I shouldn't call himself an immortal loser.
No,
That's for us to decide.
Yeah.
_1.
Oh, so he's okay.
Right.
I don't know what that means. But this kind of ties into what we were talking about with Roman Reigns and Triple H. It's what will the WWE landscape be like post WrestleMania 32? So if we assume that Roman's going to win, how will that change the face of the company, if at all? So I'll go you first for this one.
I feel this is a short answer.
Awful. I mean, usually they fall into this post-WrestleMania malaise where nothing happens for a good few months. Randy Orton gets in a title match on the next show, what used to be Backlash. You know, it's always the same thing over and over again. And occasionally they'll debut some new guys. I'm sure they will. Finn Balor and the Bullet Club, I guess, will come along after Raw. Raw after WrestleMania, maybe.
This is really left field. What if they interfere in the Hell in a Cell on behalf of Shane?
Could happen.
And then that's...
I think the outcome to the Samoa Joe Finn Balor match on the Friday
huge.
will give you... people don't understand how big that outcome is. If Samoa Joe... Like, I nobody in this room wants Samoa Joe in the main roster more than me. Right. Like, I desperately want him to get that chance. But I would happily have him held off till SummerSlam time for something bigger and better. And I feel like Balor being in NXT, I get it. I get why they're doing it. It's another brand and all that. Sure. But like for James as an example, right? I guess we could call you a pessimistic fan or a realistic fan, depending what you want to call it, right? But for you, if you're watching WrestleMania and you're watching Shane Undertaker and you're like, well, it's just going to be the same thing, and then the Balor Club come out. And
that would really change the landscape.
And they were saying, you want to get people like James or like somebody else who's kind of thinks they know what's going to happen and is kind of bored with the same old thing, and just hit them with something new. So they probably won't do it.
Like I said earlier, man, wrestling is most exciting when there's a surprise and something you're not expecting, and I think that would be great. But at the same time, everyone they've brought up from NXT, they haven't exactly used so well. So I wouldn't have that much confidence in any of these guys getting brought up to the roster.
I guess the Shield and the Wyatts, when they came up, were used a lot better.
It was a different beast then, though. NXT wasn't the same deal that it is now, the same sort of standalone company where, and as over as it is, you know, with everybody, especially the hardcore fans. To
be fair, though, this is a kind of minor opinion, but I don't really think anyone that's come up from NXT yet really deserved or was on the level to be a main event player straight. I don't think he was. I like Neville, but I don't think that Neville coming up could cut a great promo.
No, or it's his accent, isn't it? It's a northeastern.
I think it's just more he needs to develop as a character for people to get behind him before they deal with his promos. But with Balor, he is somebody who I think could be main event in a pay-per-view straight away if they wanted him to. I just don't think Neville would be taken seriously in that regard, and maybe that's the way.
What about Kevin Owens then? Because I mean, they brought him up with a bang. It was one of the best debuts I've seen in some time, and then they had him beat Cena.
It's true.
And then what happened? And now he's just another mid-card guy.
Will we just stay on NXT for a second? Because the next question, we talked about the Wyatts coming up, and Bray coming up, and he seemed fresh. The Shield came up, and he seemed fresh. Yeah. So the next question was from, I can't just name one one fan who's asked this one because there were so many, but various people have been asking, what's Bray Wyatt going to do at WrestleMania? So what do you think first?
Before this week, I was kind of baffled by it. I had no idea. I was kind of thinking, well, they can't put him in the Battle Royal. Where's he going to go? And then something happened yesterday that really kind of triggered something in my mind, where I think it was The Observer had said that Mick Foley is scheduled to come back to TV for a storyline for WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Not wrestling, but like he's going to be in a storyline. And I thought, I could see him doing something with Bray Wyatt.
What, against him? Like, or?
Yeah, like maybe he has a wrestler that like he's on the corner of or something. Yeah. Like maybe Foley just feels like I could see him kind of saying, you know, if he's come back for WrestleMania and he's going to do something, he'd be like, give me something with Bray Wyatt. Like I'll help him, because Foley's promos back in the day are something that could have worked against Wyatt. So I don't know who he would get, and I wish I could give you a definitive answer, because it kind of seemed that coming out of Raw that everybody's kind of taken. Yeah. So I don't know who you use, but I have a feeling that Foley will be involved and that there'll be somebody, but hopefully at the end of it we can see Bray Wyatt, Sister Abigail, the wrestler, and Mick Foley, and come out of WrestleMania with a win.
Well, I mean, that's a very optimistic answer.
I'm trying to be.
It's one that I hope comes true.
I'm trying to be.
But not for a dozen
But they do protect Bray Wyatt, like, for the most part, in terms of...
Until the big shows.
Until the big shows. But he's not one of the guys that comes out and separates brawls. Yeah. He's not one of the guys that... Like, they do tend to protect him in most other ways. So I don't see them putting him in a battle royal. Yeah. They're going to have something for him. I just don't know what it is.
Well, what about you? What do you think, James?
I think, given what happened on Raw, given who he was involved with on Raw, given what he's been doing with Lesnar recently, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Ambrose-Lesnar match turned into a three-way. Right. Purely because then Lesnar would have someone to beat, and they wouldn't have to beat Dean. Yeah. So if they want Dean as their guy to get somebody else over, then...
So you definitely think Lesnar's going to go over at WrestleMania?
Yes.
Right.
He cost them too much money to be beating him at WrestleMania.
Well, I think Lesnar could beat Dean, and that could make Dean if it's done right.
I mean, yeah, you can beat somebody you can put someone over by beating them, absolutely. But, you know, Dean's never going to go over Lesnar, because what would be the point? Because he'll just get beat the next week by somebody else and somebody else.
Because Lesnar's not been beaten since he won the streak, really, like properly.
I'll take a beat.
That was he's not been beaten.
But then technically, I mean, they could use it.
The ring bell thing.
He's not been pinned since he beat the streak. So I can't see them
still being beaten though. But the sheen's come off a little because of that.
Yeah, it has. But I'm saying they'll probably spin it as he's not been pinned yet.
Let's make no mistake. The person who's beaten Brock Lesnar is Roman Reigns. Don't kid yourselves. Don't kid yourselves. He has been primed to lose to Roman Reigns.
Just give us some hope. Like
James
James
is like the football coach that says, "Right, guys, I know you're going to play well today, but you're not getting through. You're not going to the final. Just accept."
Look, man, I appreciate the optimism, and I'd love to be optimistic, but I've been watching this for too long and seen them do it too many times, especially in recent years, to expect anything less. I hope they do surprise me. I want to enjoy wrestling.
Yeah. I do. It's something, because I think I've watched wrestling probably the same amount of time as James. Yeah. But I think for me, I have to think that they're going to do something exciting. Yeah. Like part of the excitement of wrestling now is thinking about what they could do before they do what they're going to do. But sometimes they do something for a little while that surprises me.
Well, who's the bigger fool though? Me for watching it when I'm so negative about it, and I still watch. But at least you're optimistic when you keep watching it. You're expecting something good might happen. True. I watch knowing there's not going to be.
I can't really defend my optimism. I think I'm just too naive, recklessly naive. I haven't really experienced life as much yet.
You'll get it.
Yeah. Luckily, the last question from Diego the Governor. That's Governor spelled in the Cockney way. Governor?
Diego the Governor.
Diego the Governor, yeah. Okay. Classic Governor name.
Cool, great. Hi, Diego.
Is it Diego Costa?
Governor.
No, he's in London.
Yeah, right, let's assume it's from Chelsea striker Diego Costa. Okay. And fittingly, it is an optimistic question to end things. So it's, what's our favourite pay-per-view of the last decade?
We're both going to say the same thing,
we've all pretty much agreed in the past that our favourite one's the same of the past decade, isn't it?
Well, I think the problem is, like you'd said this earlier, like, if you're going just by wrestling based, the pay-per-views for the most part are pretty good. Like,
absolutely.
The matches are really good and stuff, but it's when have you had one that's got really good matches and really good stories? And as an example, I was really excited about WrestleMania 27 when that was going into.
Were you?
Because I was thinking Orton and Punk.
Yeah, sign me up for that.
Like, yeah, like, and they're going to do something with Rock and Cena, and you were like, I don't really know what they're going to do here. Like, Miz is in there. There was so many, Jerry Lawler, Michael Cole, people forget that was built
What
up
did
to
they
April.
do, Kenny, though? What did they do with Rock? Nothing.
Yeah, so exactly. So in that sense...
So where's your optimism coming from?
But that's what I mean. So this is where it relates to the pay-per-view I'm going to pick. Because WrestleMania 27, I was like, yes, this is going to be brilliant. And I went to that show.
Yeah.
And coming out of that, I was like it was... But Taker Triple H was good. But then that summer, something happened that I can't remember the last time I was as excited as when CM Punk did the pipe bomb, and then that month or that 3-week period, they
Probably
had
made a
this-
mess of it.
They had this story, and it was like, but it was funny because one of the weeks they went to Australia on a tour,
Yeah.
and I always remember because they taped a Raw the same night, so you really had to wait 2 weeks for the next part of the story.
Right.
And then they did Money in the Bank in 2011, and top to bottom.
That's the one for me as well, I think. And would you agree? That's
I was going to, and then I just thought, interesting what you were saying about last time you were so excited about something. I can think of one, I'm not sure if it counts. NXT Brooklyn last year.
okay.
Because that show made me love wrestling again.
Right.
Especially the Bailey Sasha match. I mean,
great.
I think that was such a landmark match, and I think in time as well, that whole show is going to be considered as much more of a big deal than... If, for all it is considered a big deal now, I think in history is going to look favourably on it.
That's a lovely way to end the questions there, with James finally coming round. He's not all hard.
prodded him into
No.
So I guess that's it. So
Yeah,
That's all. That's all. we've got.
That's it. So
Any
thanks
questions
everyone
from?
for listening or watching the Tuesday Throwdown. We're going to be back next week to talk more Raw. We'll talk Roadblock Fallout. You'll have more questions. James, where can people find you on the internet under whatever pseudonym or name you want to use?
Best not to if you
Best
want
not
to enjoy wrestling,
Yeah, don't Google him. It's not going to end well. And Jack, just once again, you want to keep running away in front of Ross there.
Just want to keep my nose ahead.
So just give us your Twitter plug one more time.
Oh, go on, do it.
On you go.
@Jack_the_jobber. I was actually keener than I pretended
With
to be.
two
there,
B's.
It's not Jobber.
Jack the Jobber.
Jack_the_jobber.
So from Jack the Jobber, from James Dixon the Optimist, I'm Kenny McIntosh. We'll be back next week.